Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Sahara Omar. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist practicing here in the state of Texas. In today's video, I wanted to share with you guys how do you heal from disorganized attachment style. This was a requested video, so thank you for the recommendation. If you guys have any recommendations or any other topics that you want me to address in this channel, feel free to leave a comment below. So in order for us to heal from any attachment style, ideally the first step is to recognize where does that come from, right? That's the hardest part about just healing in general. Our brain cannot move forward without understanding the root cause. If the root does not make sense to us, we will continue to choose the same thing because the brain just functions that way, right? Like it's just more familiar to repeat the cycle than to break the cycle. So with disorganized attachment, the person is literally oscillating between their anxious tendencies and then their avoidant tendencies. So sometimes they really care too much and they want to know more about your desires and expectations and what you want and think about certain things. And if they don't get that same response back, that level of effort, they will pull back completely and become a little bit more cold and avoidant. A lot of, I don't want to talk about it, leave me alone tendencies. And to break this cycle, first you have to recognize that this comes from trauma, right? It does not just come from a place of us choosing to be that way. If we grew up with dysfunctional parents, a lot of chaos, a lot of hot cold dynamics in the first place, that's another factor that kind of modeled for us that this is how you coexist with people, where you lean in 100%, and if you don't get what you need from them, you lean 100% back, right? And the goal is to learn how to be secure, right? And that alone takes about 4 years on average. That's what the literature shows. So it does take time for us to get to a place where we are secure within ourselves. So first, just recognize it comes from trauma, and then you can challenge yourself slowly. So I gave you guys a practical ways to go about it a little bit more, like stepwise. So in order for us to truly develop a secure attachment, whether you have a disorganized attachment, anxious attachment, or avoidant attachment, the goal is to cultivate at the core a sense of internal safety and security. So learning how to be a little bit more connected to ourselves and understand that we are good no matter what the storm outside is, right? And that security, it's very crucial within ourselves. And then that's what helps us to avoid to being the two ends of the spectrum or just showing up very anxious or very avoidant with people. This means learning how to trust yourself, right? You might not trust people, you might not trust situations in general, but you have to trust that you will be okay and you will make a good choice no matter what, right? So that's that self-trust at the core. And also learning that you are going to be able at some point or ability to handle your emotions, right? Like, so learning how to label your emotions. I have a video on how to label our emotions, so take a look at that. Also, trusting that you're going to be okay when you are voicing what you need from people, and if people are not going to give you what you need, you have to learn how to need that for yourself as well too. And also trusting that challenges come as well too, right? It's natural, so that you're going to be okay as these challenges come up as well too. The root of all of these attachment issues is not knowing that you're going to be okay. And in reality, your adult self knows that you're going to be okay, but your younger self, the one that experienced all of that trauma, does not know that he or she are going to be okay. So to overcome it, it's steps and it will take some time. Typically, I recommend find a trauma-informed therapist. Not every therapist is trained on handling trauma and healing from trauma. So make sure that you ask them. Typically, the types of traumas that I recommend informed therapists, make sure that they are either EMDR certified or they are CBT therapists themselves. So I am a therapist who's CBT and trauma informed as well too. So I'm very comfortable sitting with people, chaos and the things that they experienced in life, and I'm able to help them sort through it and allow them to feel those emotions and challenge them, right? So CBT is the one that we usually recommend the highest, but EMDR, somatic experiencing, those are other form of modalities that you can ask your therapist if they are trained on those areas, okay? Then you also have to learn to create a routine and structure for yourself, right? So predictability, that stability sense, right? Like that security within ourselves, we need things that we can go back to over and over again. So creating a routine, like waking up a certain time, going to bed a certain time, making sure that you're eating a certain time, working out a certain time during the day, that helps you know that I can rely on myself and I don't have to wait on someone to send me a text message or ask me on a dinner for me to be okay, right? So routine in general creates a sense of stability within yourself, okay? especially when people are being chaotic around you. And then another way that you can kind of cultivate that security within yourself is also learning how to self-regulate techniques, right? Self-regulate techniques are ways that you can soothe yourself when the anxiety is activated part of you, right? So some of these words that I'm giving you guys as well, you can look them up. You can Google yourself as well. So ways that you can self-regulate, for example, when you're feeling overwhelmed, is taking a deep breath. The main one that I really like, the breath technique, and maybe I can make a video on this as well too, is box breathing or 4x4 breathing style. There's an app called Calm app. That one is really good at just breath work in general. Just take a 4 deep inhale breath, hold it in your body for 4 counts, and then release it out of your mouth for 4 counts. When someone is not responding the way you want them to respond or show up the way you want them to show up, instead of you freaking out and yelling and exerting that level of chaos back onto them, just take a deep breath. You can slow down. Other ways that you can look up this technique as well, to progressive muscle relaxation. It's ways that you're learning how to relax your muscle so that way you can just slow down overall, okay? And then grounding techniques, that's another way that we can self-regulate as well too. Grounding techniques, the one that I really like is it's called 5 4 3 2 1. I believe I added it to the video that talks about our sanity and making sure that we're protecting our sanity. It's literally, you just use your 5 senses and ways that you can kind of count the things that you see in front of you, right? So 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. It's just, you allow yourself to ground yourself when somebody is not texting you back, like I said, or they're not responding according to the way you want them to respond, right? Where the anxiety is feeling overwhelming, essentially, okay? And also, other ways that you can learn how to self-regulate is also come back and label the emotion as well. So if there's part of you that just wants to run away, learn how to just say, you know what, I'm feeling sad right now, and allow yourself to feel that sadness. Or I'm feeling angry right now, and it's okay to be angry, but not crossing somebody's boundary as well too. So just self-regulation techniques, your therapist will help you out as well to practice with them, because that's the hard part. We have to practice with someone else. We can't just talk about these things as like a fact, right? Like we have to just kind of practice a little bit as well too. And then the last thing that you guys can do as well is be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself, especially your younger self, the version of you that experienced all of that trauma. That younger self did not sign up to be chaotic, right? Like that younger self did not say, you know what, I just want to be attacked constantly and people crossing my boundaries. That's just not how the younger self decided to make sense of this life in the first place, right? So be kind to your younger self. Be gentle, talk kindly to your younger self. So we say in psychology, practice self-compassion, right? Like that's just being kind to yourself. And also this alone, just healing alone is a process, right? It's not something that we can flip a switch really fast. There's part of me that wishes that it was that fast, but think of your mental health in general, similar to like when you break a bone on a physical level. When we break a bone, you have to go to the doctor, they get an x-ray, you take pain medication. Sometimes it requires a surgery, but sometimes it's just, they can just correct it with a casket, right? Like, and then after that, you have to be on it for a while, right? About usually 6 to 8 weeks, right? And then after that, they have to take it off. And then when they take it off, then you have to go to PT and physical therapy and learn how to use that hand again from scratch, right? It's similar in that way with when we talk about anything related to mental health. First step is just, you have to say it out loud. What are you struggling with? Label the things correctly. The next step will be, where does it come from? Truly understanding where that comes from. Then you have to practice with someone that you can trust, like your therapist, saying things out loud in different ways, and kind of reading books and kind of understand like where things come from and how do you challenge yourself, right? And then eventually you arrive at a place where you are secure and you are whole and you are feeling like you are in control of your life and at peace. No one can force that process to move fast. It's just, it is what it is, right? And sometimes some of my clients as well in therapy, they struggle with just accepting the fact that healing does take time. On average, like I said, it takes about 4 years from the day that you start, or just having that awareness. So just find yourself, do a good job, find yourself a good therapist, someone that you can connect with, that you can trust, but hold you kind of accountable as well too. We don't want our therapist to just co-sign on chaos. We want someone who's going to call us out and say, you know what, you said that you did this yesterday and Now you're doing it differently. This is contradiction. Where is this coming from? You want someone else outside of you to hold you accountable. And eventually you arrive at a place where you can like yourself and you can stand yourself essentially, and you have a little bit of more self-compassion towards yourself as well there. And then you become secure. So that's the process in general. If you follow these steps, typically you'll get there, but just be kind to yourself. It does take time because there's a huge separation between your adult self and your younger self, the self that experienced all of that trauma. And healing just literally just means go back in time and talk through what you've been through, but also hold people accountable and hold yourself accountable in the adult self and give yourself these things that was missing in the first place as well too. I did make a video on true healing, like how do you heal in general, so take advantage of that as well too. Look back at that video. But those are ways, the practical ways that you can just follow. Eventually you will arrive at a place where you can trust yourself. And then in extension, your relationships with people become a little bit more secure. You learn how to connect with people where you can voice what you need and what you want and give them the space to think through it and make a decision if they want to meet that need for you or not. And if they're not willing to meet that need, the challenge becomes, why are you challenging yourself to be in relationships that doesn't serve you? Most of you guys out there may not have a lot of attachment issues, but the challenge is you are choosing to be around people that doesn't meet your needs, that doesn't show up in a healthy way. So typically then you might look at it and be like, well, I'm secure in my friendship, but I'm not secure in my romantic relationship. That's a choice issue, not an attachment issue. That's another piece that hopefully your therapist can help you sort out. Because when we have like a true attachment issue, we're gonna struggle with everyone, right? Like we don't know how to connect and bond with people. We have problems with our romantic relationships. We will have problems with our friendships and colleagues as well too. We just don't know how to stay stable within ourselves because we're very chaotic, right? Like we experience a lot of trauma, so that we just act out those traumas over and over again. All right, guys, I hope that you guys liked the video. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know if these steps make sense, and also leave a comment in as far as like any videos, recommendation that you guys want me to do. I'm more than happy to incorporate. I'll see you guys in the next video.